So I did an AMA on Reddit a couple weeks back, and I've always had like an incognito Reddit account, and I still do, but I had to create an official one with my name on it for the AMA that I didn't use for anything other than the AMA. But after I did that, I started getting these really fun, trolly messages from people who were just, saying pretty awful things, to be honest. But every once in a while, I do get a message that is actually being a question being asked, I think in good faith. It's kind of hard to tell, but I think it's being asked in good faith. And it's a question that I've received actually quite a bit from people on the left, or people who don't believe my story, don't believe my transition. And so I thought I would just take a minute to make a video of it, because oftentimes it's easier for me just to talk through these issues and these questions without, instead of having to like write it all out. So here's the question that I received. I'm not going to say who it's from. I don't want to embarrass anyone. I don't want to get anyone in trouble or harassed or anything like that. I'm going to try to answer this question in good faith. So it reads, in a matter of months, Dr. Carlin B. has turned away from her liberal views and her liberal friends and has become a raging conservative that criticizes the Black Lives Matter movement. There's already so much to unpack, even in that first sentence. I just don't understand how anyone could change their views so drastically in a matter of months. She's basically has gotten all these new conservative followers that egg her on. Please. And now she has fully embraced the right and is selling merchandise that criticizes what she supported like 6 months ago. It's almost like she has been brainwashed. Have I been brainwashed? No, I don't think so. So here's the thing. So first off, this kind of makes me wonder if this person knows me. So I know for an absolute fact, because I get wind of things. My old friends think I don't get wind of these things, but I do get wind of these things. I know for an absolute fact that at least one of my old friends has created fake accounts to screw with me on social media. I know it for an absolute fact. And so I almost wonder if this person's saying she's criticizing what she supported just 6 months ago. I mean, how would you know that unless you knew me 6 months ago? So I really do wonder if this is someone that actually knows me. But let's just start at the beginning, because there's so much to break down here. Okay, so the first thing this person says is, I turned away from my liberal views. I didn't turn away from my liberal views. I still hold every single one of my liberal views. I can't think of one position that I held before that I don't hold now. The reality is this: there are things that I haven't really talked extensively about that I do hold very liberal views on. I hold very liberal views when it comes to healthcare. I think the healthcare system is in dramatic need of reform. I think we need to make it much more affordable. I think there needs to be much better access to healthcare than most people currently have. I'm a fan of Obamacare. I was on Obamacare for like a year. My husband and I used Obamacare. I was so grateful that it existed back then, and that we got to take advantage of it. It would have been actually a pretty big problem if we hadn't. So on that, I am liberal. I am liberal on immigration reform. I think the wall, I'm kind of like neither here nor there about the wall. I kind of just think it's a stupid waste of money. I think that there are so many other things we could be doing that we aren't, but I just don't feel very strongly about it. If they want to build the wall, fine, whatever. I'm not in favor of the things they've been doing in terms of taking kids away from their families. I don't think that's good. I'm not a fan at all. Other things that I'm liberal on. Listen, man, the 2 most recent Supreme Court decisions I'm in favor of. Look at my Twitter account. I got in all sorts of fights with people on Twitter about the Supreme Court decisions, and that's what I feel strongly about. I'm a fan of DACA, and I think that DACA for me is something that, you know what, Congress doesn't want to behave like adults and actually address the situation. Well, fine. I'm perfectly okay with how it was addressed, because I don't want those kids to go home. Those kids have never known any country but the United States. It doesn't make any sense. I'm also in favor of the decision that came down about employment or employers not being able to discriminate against people because of their sexual orientation or gender identity. Completely agree with those decisions. Now, here's the issue. I believe very, very strongly, and this has been a core belief since I was a teenager, since I was 13, 14 years old, man. I believe very, very strongly in the First Amendment. I'm a First Amendment absolutist. And on that issue, which was one of the most important issues to me that exists on the political spectrum, I am more in line with conservatives right now than I am with people on the left. That's just the way it is. I don't agree with conservatives on a lot of things, but on this specific issue, yeah, fully in agreement there. And here's the thing. The left doesn't believe in free speech anymore. The ACLU doesn't believe in defending free speech. They're banning books and movies left and right. They banned To Kill a Mockingbird last week. They banned Huck Finn last week. They are no longer teaching those in certain school districts in Minnesota. It is absolutely ridiculous, and it's not stopping. There's being more bans all over. I'm not in favor of any of that. I believe strongly that all ideas should be able to be considered, and that when you protect the speech that is the most reprehensible speech, you protect speech of all different varieties. So I'm very much more in line with the conservatives on that one than I am with the left. Now, the Second Amendment. I never really cared about the Second Amendment. So I was never against guns. I've never been against guns in my life. I think that, well, I thought that there should be gun reform, but then we actually had to go through the process of buying a gun because, listen, man, I didn't own guns until very, very recently. And then I started getting death threats from crazy liberals on the internet, and we had to get a damn gun. So, yeah, I mean, I think the Second Amendment is fine. I'm a big fan right now. I just told Victor last night, I was like, Joe Biden wins election, you're going out and buying an AR-15, like, immediately. Like, that freaking day, man. Maybe even earlier if it looks obvious he's gonna win, because, you know, probably not a bad thing to have around. So, I mean, on those issues, that's where I am. So I have not left my liberal views. Now, have I left my liberal friends? I mean, my liberal friends left me, man. My liberal friends, like, I would never turn my back on any of my friends. My friends turn their back on me. And that's just the way it is. And there's a lot more to the story than that. I mean, and some of them lately, it's so funny. Some of them, like, private message me lately, and they're like, Carlin, I kind of agree with some of the things you've been saying, but I can't say it publicly. Yeah, they have. They have. This whole situation is red pilling an awful lot of people. So, I mean, some of them are coming back. If all of them don't come back, I don't really care. I don't care, man. A lot of my old friends are, like, actively harassing me on the internet at the moment. So, you know what? Toodles. I don't need you. Become a raging conservative that criticizes the Black Lives Matter movement. I was never involved in the Black Lives Matter movement, man. I never felt strongly about it. It was neither here nor there for me, for the most part. If you say we go Black Lives Matter, well, of course Black Lives Matter. Like, I'm not going to argue with that point. But, like, it was just never an area that I was ever campaigning for or was very passionate about or any of these things. I mean, I think maybe when it first started, you know, I don't remember exactly, if I'm honest, but it's not out of the realm of possibility that I posted some Black Lives Matter stuff when it first started, because, listen, like, I used to be, and I think this is probably true of more people on the left than they think, like, sometimes you just post stuff to fit in, or you post stuff because you're like, I'm gonna hear about it. If I don't post the goddamn black square on my Instagram account, I'm gonna hear about it anyway. So why not just post it? It's gonna make my life easier. But I never felt strongly about that. So I wouldn't say, like, you know, Black Lives Matter, the organization, I will criticize every day of the week. Black Lives Matter as a concept, like, I haven't moved away from that. Now, when the Black Lives Matter movement first started, though, like, we hadn't, well, I shouldn't say we, they hadn't redefined racism yet to be every single white person ever. So no, I do not agree with that in any way, shape, or form. All right. I just don't understand how anyone could change their views so drastically in a matter of months. Well, first off, because it wasn't a matter of months. It took place over, this is something people don't understand. It took place over an extended period of time for me. I mean, really, it's June 2020. It's probably started in February or March of last year. That's when it really started for me, because that's when it started heating up in the knitting community, which is when it really started getting on my radar. So it was a very long, extended period of time of exploration, of looking at all sorts of different ideas. And how it started for me, honestly, was I wanted to understand Trump supporters. I was like, because I was very vote blue no matter who. I was. You can go back and look, man. I was like, we need to beat Donald Trump. That is the most important thing. That is the only thing that matters. And from my perspective, I was trying to understand why people would support Donald Trump, because I didn't think we could beat him if we didn't understand him. and we didn't understand why people were voting for him. And everyone in my life was completely against this idea. They're like, don't do it, Curlin. Don't listen to the conservatives. You're going to become one of them. Well, guess what, guys? That happens because when you start listening to more diverse views, you discover that conservatives are not actually unreasonable people. They're not actually racist people. They're not mean people. They're not people who just want the good old boys who are always white and men to control everything. That's not what they are. And you don't discover that until you actually start listening to them. So this took place over the course of many, I mean, it was probably close to a full year by the time I actually went to the Trump rally. And so, no, it didn't take place over the course of just a matter of months. It was a long time. She's gotten all these new conservative followers that egg her on. Listen, man, conservatives, you're not going to like what I'm about to say. Conservatives should just, you need to cover your ears right now. You're not going to like what I'm about to say. Conservatives are cowards, man. They are. Not all of them. Not all of them. But to say that the conservatives are the ones egging me on, dude, look at my Twitter. Look at my Twitter for the last week. I have been yelling at conservatives and people on the right and Trump supporters, because those are not always the same thing, by the way. They really, really aren't. Conservatives and Trump supporters are not always the same thing. I've been yelling at them ad nauseum to start speaking up, to start defending their beliefs, to start even just saying what they think, even to wear a MAGA hat. They're terrified. They're terrified of wearing a hat or having a bumper sticker on their car or having a lawn sign. To think these people that are afraid of speaking up in the most basic sense are egging me on? Please, have you met me? Well, this person may have, and if this person has met me in real life, you know better, man. No one eggs me on. I'm the person that eggs on other people. I don't suffer any of that nonsense at all. And I do struggle with all the conservatives I have following me. Listen, I really do, because I know that I say things they don't agree with, and I get smacked down for it by freaking hundreds of people when I do it. This is the thing. People's like, Karen has all these new followers. She just is attention whore. Listen, if I wanted to grift with this crowd, I could easily do it any single day of the week. I don't care about that, man. I speak my mind. And some of the liberals, some of my old friends are like, Curlin, people are saying mean things about me on Twitter. Sometimes I knew this woman that, I never liked this woman, but she basically came onto Twitter and called me a racist a couple weeks ago, and so I retweeted her. And it's someone I knew in real life, and she got several conservative comments coming after her for it, which I knew she would, and I never liked her, so I have to say that I kind of enjoyed that a little bit. But I had all my friends tweeting at me. They're like, Carlin, you should protect her. All the mean conservatives are coming after her. Oh, boo-hoo-hoo. I get mean tweets from conservatives all day, every day. Go check my Twitter if you don't believe it. Hundreds and hundreds of people, man. So boo-hoo. I don't care. Smallest violin playing just for you. But to say I'm egging on these conservatives, I mean, come on. Or actually, no, they're egging me on. No, that's not what's happening. Or to say that, I'm just pandering to this following. No, I piss them off all the time. It's almost like she's been brainwashed. I was not brainwashed. I know my own mind. I can answer questions about why I think what I think, and we're going to get into some of that in a second. But then she said she's been selling merchandise that criticizes what she supported 3 months ago. Let's take a look at the merchandise I'm selling, okay? Let's take a look at the merchandise I have in my store right now. Of course, I have my classic My Body, My Choice t-shirt. I have never been in favor of mass. I never would be in favor of mass expressing what you believe, which inherently requires your damn mouth. That is one of the things that is most important to me of almost anything, being able to personally empower yourself and express what you believe. I wrote a whole damn book about it in, I don't even know what year anymore, but it's 2-3 years ago. I wrote a whole book about being empowered, expressing yourself in the workplace, because that's, where I do most of my stuff. But that's always been one of my core values. My body, my choice mask. My big thing with masks is they cover. My microphone's right there. So they cover the thing you use to express yourself. I think they inhibit expression. So that's directly in line with my core beliefs. I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. That's a Thomas Jefferson quote. I've always been a fan of the Founding Fathers. That hasn't changed. This is just a silent sheet. That's an expression thing. My Make Knitting Great Again shirt. I've got 2 versions of that one. Make speech free again. We've already covered my my free speech stuff. I've got more make free speech again. What could possibly go wrong? I mean, I don't know how that betrays any of my values. Do I even have anything else? I think that's... Oh, mind your own damn business, Karen. Yes, I have always and forever been opposed to nosy busybodies. Oh, unfuckwithable, and I think I have a censored version too, unfwithable. Literally, man, if you go back and look in some of my workplace presentations over the last 2 to 3 years, I think the first time I talked about being, I'll say unfwithable to censor for the people who are sensitive to cursing, I started talking about being unfwithable in my workplace presentations. I believe it's South by Southwest in 2018. I think it was the workshop I gave at South by Southwest in 2018 that I first started talking about this. So that obviously doesn't betray my sensibilities at all. And I think it's a cool shirt, and I can't wait to get mine. All right. So then I engaged this person, and they asked, I basically said, do you actually want to understand? I will answer questions if I believe that they're being asked in good faith with good faith answers. And so this person responded back, honestly, I just don't know how anyone could support Trump. The racism, the corruption, the incompetence, and it's all clearly documented and even corroborated by people close to him. I mean, okay, so let's just stop there. Let's just stop there for a second. The racism. I think that Trump, like many men of his age, does have some, implicit bias. I do. I'm sorry. Like, you think I pander to conservatives all the time? I'm going to say it. Like, I do. I think he said some things that I wouldn't say. But most people of his age have that. It's a function of when they grew up, man. Do I think that Trump behaves in an overtly racist way? No, I don't. I really, really don't. And so, I would challenge you to show evidence. Show me evidence of it. Show me things that he's actually done. Show me videos. And if you saw about the Charlottesville thing where he said they're good people on both sides, they're very fine people on both sides, watch the full damn quote. Because he flat out condemns the white supremacists, man. He flat out condemns them. You have to watch the full damn quote. Trump is guilty oftentimes of not speaking clearly. That is his biggest offense, is not speaking clearly. But when you watch the full context of the things that he says, I don't believe that he's racist. I'm sorry, I just don't. The corruption, the incompetence, it's kind of the same thing there. I don't know that, listen, Trump has done some things that I wouldn't do. He's made decisions that I wouldn't make, but do I think that he's the most corrupt, incompetent person ever to hold the job? Absolutely not. No, not in any way. And in fact, I like some of the things that he's done. I like prison reform. I think that was good. I mean, I think that I like certain things that he's done in terms of, listen, I think he handled the coronavirus stuff as well as anyone could handle it. What else would you have him do? Trump started talking about coronavirus and formed his coronavirus task force and shut down travel from China at the end of January while he was still being impeached. You know when the first time Nancy Pelosi talked about it was? February 24th, when she was walking through Chinatown in San Francisco, encouraging everyone to come out to Chinatown because she had called Trump racist for shutting down travel from China, which we now know probably saved a whole ton of lives, and he gets zero credit for it. So, no, I don't know that anyone could have handled it better than him. I don't understand how someone who could see the Democrats as a worst option, especially someone as intelligent and educated as yourself, because the Democrats have lost their minds. The Democratic Party that exists today is not the same Democratic Party that I joined 20 years ago. It is just not. They have lost their damn minds. They are literally pulling down statues of the founding fathers. They are literally advocating for abolishing the police. Man, I've heard from some of my friends, like, Carlin, why don't you come out against the police in terms of Black Lives Matter? You want to know why? Because I get death threats now. I had to have a conversation with my local police station about what's going on with people threatening me on the internet. Like, I'm cool with the police, man. Police are protecting me. Like, I'm good. And no, do I think that there should be reform in how policing is done? Yes. Yes, of course I do. Some of the things that have happened are absolutely unacceptable. George Floyd's death was absolutely unacceptable. However, we can't even have this conversation because of how crazy the Democrats are behaving. We cannot even talk about it. We can't talk about common sense reform because the Democrats are all like, abolish the police. Like, that's insane. I'm not on board with that. If you follow Trump's rhetoric, I have a master's in writing and teach a class on persuasion and logic, well, la-di-da. Actually, that might help me figure out who this person is. He clearly caters to his audience who are people who are less educated and easier to manipulate. I don't know about that, man. Like, okay, I'm pretty damn educated. Although one of the insults I get all the time is like, well, where did you do your education? I'm like, oh, you're an elitist, aren't you? Let's see. He clearly caters to his audience that are less educated and easier to manipulate. Now, I don't think that saying all Trump supporters are dumb or uneducated, but I know that is not true. Wait, hang on. Now, I don't think I'm saying that all Trump supporters are dumb and uneducated, because I know that's not true. Good. But his rhetoric and persuasive techniques, i.e. his dumbed-down vocabulary and his transparent logical fallacies, the left uses logical fallacies all the time. You guys will not watch anything on Fox News because it's from Fox News. That is a logical fallacy. That is a logical fallacy by itself. I'm called crazy anytime I share any video from YouTube that is not from the Young Turks. That is a logical fallacy in and of itself. So stop accusing the right of being the ones that use the logical fallacies. It is not the truth, man. It's not the truth. In regards to his dumbed down vocabulary, I have no issue with this. I spent years untraining myself from using the vocabulary that I picked up when I was doing my PhD because normal people don't talk like that. No one talks like college professors do in the real world, man. It doesn't work. So am I going to ding Trump for doing that? No, I'm absolutely not. Pointing him to targeting a lesser intelligent audience. I just don't understand how anyone could support Trump, let alone someone as educated as you, especially since you called yourself a Democrat. I didn't just call myself a Democrat. I donated to 7 candidates in the Democratic primary this last year. I donated to 7 candidates. Want to know who? And I can actually probably provide receipts of this. I'm not going to, but I could provide receipts. I donated to Bernie. I donated to Beto. I donated to Steve Bullock from Montana. It was a trade with a friend of mine where he donated to Marianne Williamson and I donated to Steve Bullock. I donated to Marianne Williamson. I donated to Pete Buttigieg. I donated to Cory Booker. And, Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard was the last one. So I donated to 7 Democrats in the campaign cycle, and I just called myself a Democrat. I was going to all these Democratic campaign events in New Hampshire, man. There's photos. There's receipts. This did not happen overnight. And listen, I have no regrets about this. I have absolutely 0 regrets. And I think that, listen, here's what I want people to hear. You don't need to change your values in order to look around at what is happening in the country right now and know that this is not making us better. This is not making us stronger. And in the conversations I've had with the right and in the left, it is the right that wants to mend the divide. It is the left that keeps on doing this stuff where they call everyone that disagrees with them Nazis and racists and all sorts of names. Listen, like where do you want to put me? Because in the land of the left, I have 2 options: progressive or alt-right. That's how they see the world. If you are not a crazy, fall off the cliff progressive, like far extreme leftist, then you're a member of the alt-right. I have always been a more centrist person. I have always believed in compromise. I've always believed in finding middle ground. I have some issues that I go left on and I have some issues that I go right on, which generally speaking puts me right smack dab in the middle. But I'm not allowed to be in the middle as a member of the Democratic Party. If I am not on the far left progressive side of the spectrum, you basically call me an alt-right Nazi. So what do you want me to do, man? Where do you want me to go? I'm cool living in the land of the politically homeless. I piss off conservatives all the time. You guys just don't see it because you're not paying attention to it. So there are some answers to the questions that I got on Reddit. I don't know if this is valuable or helpful for anyone, but I don't know. Maybe it'll get into the hands of some people who are more moderate Democrats or who are thinking about maybe talking to some of those evil Republicans. And listen, if that's the case, then do it. Then talk to them. Talk to people who think differently than you. Talk to people who have different beliefs. It might help you clarify what you think. It might show you that they aren't really as different as you to begin with. And these are good things. It is a good thing to find out that your quote-unquote enemy is not as bad as you think They are. It is a good thing. It is a positive thing. And if we could have more of these conversations, well, guess what? We probably wouldn't have a civil war brewing right in front of us because people would understand that the other side is not evil. So I highly recommend it. Maybe you choose to stay in your party. Maybe you choose to leave. I didn't become a Republican, man. I didn't become a Republican for a reason. I'm sitting right smack dab in the middle. I think both parties are crazy. If the whole system burns down, maybe that wouldn't be a bad thing. But I'm just going to kick back and eat my popcorn and laugh at everyone and just continue to say what I think. But to say I'm a raging conservative to do that, I don't know, man. Then I guess that probably makes the conservatives a party that I'm much more inclined to be a part of than someone on the left. I don't know. All right, those are my answers. That's all I have. I'll be back at you guys with another video very, very soon.